It is such a big dream of mine, like literally one of my wildest dreams, to get to travel the United States first and go to every single one of like the most haunted places in America. Like I want to visit every single one to just experience it. Like I've been paranormal investigating. Let's see, my very first investigation would have been like back in 2019. And then like before that, like I've always been fascinated by the paranormal. Like when I was a little girl, because I was the only child for a long, long time. Like my brother and I are 13 years apart. And like I used to stay at my grandparents all the time. And I don't know, I just remember, now of course, like, I don't know if my memories are even true. But, because it's getting like harder and harder to remember that far back. But from what I remember, what I recall, like, I remember just being lonely, you know, that I had nobody to play with, you know, like I used to wish I had like somebody to play with, or like, you know, brother or sister or somebody to play with all the time, you know, like have like a built-in bestie. But I didn't, and so oftentimes I would just play by myself. But I mean, I enjoyed it. But I remember I have like some of these memories of, like, I used to pretend that my friends were ghosts, that I had like ghosts that were friends. And I think it just helped me feel like less lonely. You know, like I used to always like pretend that like ghosts were around me. And I remember I would sit back in the back bedroom of my granny's house. It's the blue room. And I would sit back there and I would just talk. I would just talk to the air, you know, but it was like I was talking to the spirits. And I had to have been little. But I don't remember how old. But I know I had maybe Indy's age. Maybe like around 6, 7, maybe somewhere on there. But I used to just sit back there and just talk. Like I'd shut the door and just talk. Just speak out. Just say things, you know, like, are you here with me? You know, will you talk to me? Will you be my friend? You know, and I would just like ask questions. I didn't even know what I was doing. It was just like, I just wanted somebody to like speak back to me so badly. Like I wanted to know that somebody was there with me so badly, you know, that was my friend. God, that like, I didn't mean for this to like sound so fucking pathetic. God, am I really this fucking pathetic? Like it really was. It's not sad. I don't know why I'm like, I feel like it sounds so pitiful, like so sad. But it wasn't. Like, I think I just wanted to know that like I wasn't alone. Maybe like in my little kid mind, that was like how I was doing it, you know, like I don't know. It was just hell. Like I remember in the first grade, because like Addams Family had come out and I was obsessed with it, and I was obsessed with that whole movie. I was obsessed with Wednesday Addams. I wanted to be her. I'm sure just like many other elder millennials at that time did too. But I remember though in the first grade, like I wrote my own Book of the Dead. I was obsessed with Egypt. You know, all of these let's just say interesting topics. I was obsessed with, you know, the Egyptians, like funeral processes, like the burial processes, the, you know, mummification. I was obsessed with the bodies, the mummies. the sarcophagi, however you say that, in plural form. Like, I remember, like, you know, my mom would take me to the library or the bookstore, and I was always choosing books from, you know, to like learn more about Egypt and the whole processes. And then I remember like going to the public library, and my favorite book to pick out was about the Bell Witch. God, I was obsessed with that book. Like, every time we went, I had to check it out every fucking time. And then it was interesting because they moved it. Like, because I remember there was one time we went and I couldn't find it. It wasn't in the usual place. And they had moved it actually to like the upstairs portion of the library into like the historical section. Like, it became like historical. And I just remember thinking like, that's interesting. But anyways, like, I've always been fascinated. Like, and I've not been afraid of it. Like, I was, but I wasn't. It's almost like I would do it and I would like be so in it. Like, I remember like playing with Ouija boards, like, when I was younger, like trying to conjure spirits. Like, you guys, like this little girl, like trying to like, and I'm having a blast, like trying to fucking conjure spirits out of this Ouija board to fucking talk to me. Like, I remember that is all I fucking wanted. I just wanted, like, I just wanted a ghost to talk to me. And of course, like, it never happened. Like, never. Like, nothing ever came through on the Ouija board. Like, I did have a couple of weird experiences with Ouija boards. Like, I had 2 weird experiences with them, but not like when I was yes, when I was a kid, but that's a fast forward. Like, I'm talking about when I was young. I did not. No scary experiences or anything like that. But I was just like always obsessed with it, and I just wanted a ghost to speak to me so badly. I think just to know that it was there. I think to know that I just had somebody there with me all the time and that would play with me. I think that was really like my little kid mindset about it. And I just thought it would be cool, you know. But anyways, that never happened. that never manifested, and I guess I'm fucking glad it didn't. Because I did have like a spirit manifest like in front of me one time in all the years that I've been operating in the paranormal world. It's only happened to me one time. I've only seen a spirit physically, like I don't know if that's the word, like physically in front of me one time ever, and it scared the ever-loving fucking God out of me. And I hope it never happens again, quite honestly. Like, I hope they just stay in my mind's eye, because if I ever physically see that shit again, I will shit my pants. But I think that's probably the only thing that I'm actually afraid of, is if I actually like were to see it right in front of me again, because it was the most terrifying experience I've ever had. But and I remember like just being in that, and I froze. Like, and I've heard other people talk about that like when they actually encounter one, like physically, on the physical plane, that they do that. It's almost like you're paralyzed for a moment. It's almost like the energy. You're in this moment, like state of paralysis. Like, I just remembered that. Like, I couldn't move. And it was almost maybe like you're just scared so badly you can't move. I don't know. But it's weird. Because, you know, like, I'm a paranormal investigator. Like, I literally seek stuff like that out. And it's so rare. Like, it's only ever happened to me one time. Now, I have had in the same house that I experienced that. I did have, like, I was laying in bed one night. I was pregnant with Dominic. So this was years and years ago, because he's 16 now. So I was pregnant with him, and I was up in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. And I'm just laying there, and his dad was asleep next to me, and I'm watching Marie Antoinette. It's one of my favorite movies. 𝗡𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗦, Marie Antoinette, her version of it. I was watching it, and the corner, like the opposite, because I'm laying on the left side of the bed, so this would have been like the opposite end corner, like the right end corner, just out of nowhere. Like, and I even had my dog in there, Coco, and she never barked, never alerted to anything, nothing. But I'm just watching TV, and just out of nowhere, the covers from that corner just start pulling off of the bed very slowly until they had pulled completely off of me, completely off of his dad, and were in the floor. Like something was pulling the fucking comforter, like the covers, off of the bed. And it did. It pulled it off the bed. And I remember just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like I was not afraid. There was no fear in that moment. I was not afraid at all. It was just kind of like a moment of like, ugh, really? And I will never forget what I did. Like, after it happened, my ass just gets up. Because, like I said, there was no fear. There was no, like, weird energy. It was just something that, like, just happened out of nowhere. I get up out of bed and just pick him up off the floor and put him back on the bed. And then I continue on. Like, I think I went to sleep after that. But now the next morning, different story. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? How was I not scared? I was terrified. And then, like, in the same house, like, I was getting ready one morning for work. Because back then I worked at State Farm. I worked at corporate America. Ugh. Fuck that shit. Won't never do that again. But anyways, was getting ready for work. And I hear footsteps up above me. And, like, there was a bedroom hallway up above me. And I hear footsteps. I hear somebody walking. Well, nobody was home, but I thought it was my son's dad's dad. Like, I thought it was his dad that had come over, because sometimes he worked third shift. And so sometimes he would get off work and come over there and he would drink. Because, he wasn't supposed to be drinking. So he wouldn't go home. He would come over there and, like, kind of, like, hide it. He would drink or whatever. So I thought it was him. I didn't even think twice about it. I just thought it was him. Not scared, nothing at this point. Nothing to sound, alarm bells. And so, I just finished getting ready. And then I go outside to leave for work. And I'm going out the door, and I'm like, bye, Paul. And, he didn't answer. And so I walk out the door, and his car's not there. Nobody's there. And I'm like, very confused. I was the only one there. So I even go back in, and I'm like, hello. And I was too scared, too chicken shit at that point to go upstairs and check. But I'm like, oh my God. So there was a lot that happened in that house, but after all of these years of paranormal investigating, I have learned something about hauntings and when things like that happen. I have learned that it's all very personal. Okay, because, there's been so many situations, so many cases where, okay, take Amityville, for example. Amityville is one of my favorite stories of all time. Like, just from bottom to top, like from the murder where it started to the top of, like, the haunting and shit. And the movies and all of that. So, I love that. Well, take Amityville, for example. So, you've got the Lutz family that moves in, about a year after the 𝗡𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗖𝗓 murders. And they experience this, like, horrendous haunting, like, terrifying enough for them to pack up their shit. Not even pack it. They left their shit. Excuse me. They left all of their fucking shit in that house. They just fucking bounced. So it was scary enough for them to just fucking leave and never come back. And of course, like, since then, there's been multiple families, because this was like in the 70s. So 50 years. So in the 50 years since this has happened, there's been multiple families to live in that house, and none of them have reported any sort of paranormal activity. So that goes to show that, like, I think it's just to help me prove my point in my experiences from investigations is hauntings are personal. And for whatever reason, they were not supposed to be in that house. And so what does the universe, what does God, what does whatever this power that be do? Well, it gets them out any way that it can. And so back to my haunting, the only time that I ever experienced something that terrified me to the point where I wanted to leave. Like, I wanted to leave that house, but I couldn't. I had nowhere to go. But I would not stay there alone after that. Like, I was scared to death to be in that house. I've never been so scared in my entire life. But in hindsight, looking back at that experience, I believe it was trying, because that relationship was the worst I'd ever had. It was incredibly abusive, so abusive, and not healthy, and not good. Like, his dad used to steal money from me. I mean, it's like a whole story. Let's just say it's not a good, healthy, or safe situation being in a relationship with him. So I firmly believe, looking back at that experience in hindsight, that was God, like, basically trying to scare me out of that situation, out of that relationship, and out of that house. And now, like, as soon as we could, I will say this, as soon as we could, we moved, we left. But like I said, looking back, like, that was the only time period that I actually experienced physical manifestations, spirit manifestations, and physical activity. And I firmly believe that it was trying to get me to get out of there. It was trying to get me to get out of that relationship with him, trying to scare me off. But of course, I'm stubborn. It didn't work. But it did get me out of that house, though. Which, I mean, we lived with his grandmother, and that was not a safe environment either. So I guess you could look at that two different ways. But, like, yeah. And so I feel like, you know, there's so much that goes into that. And I feel like I'm complete on that subject, but I've just always been so fascinated with the paranormal, and I just want to know and research. Like, I could research it all day long, and I have. I've probably seen every single paranormal documentary known to man, every paranormal TV show. Like, I eat it up. I'm obsessed. I love it. I love everything about it. And I think, like, if I could do one thing every day for the rest of my life and not get tired of it, it would be paranormal investigating. Like, this is like my biggest wet dream, is to go to the most haunted places in America, just to experience them. And I was able to actually travel to one on my list. It's in the top 10 most haunted places in America. It's the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana. Amazing. Oh, fucking amazing. Now, I believe that those hauntings there are very misunderstood. They are very much exploited But it is truly haunted. So I will say that it is truly haunted, and I was just, oh God, I was in hog heaven being there and getting to stay there for a couple nights. Oh my God. I would go back in a heartbeat. That property is beautiful. The energy there is amazing. It's not scary. I mean, well, I guess it would be scary to some, but it was not scary to me. It was just, I was so happy to be there. Highly recommend it. But that's what I want to do. Like, if I could just do anything in the world, it would be travel around and go to the most haunted places in America just to experience them. I don't even care to investigate them, honestly, because, I'm psychic, I'm intuitive. I pick it up. I pick up what's there. Like, I don't need to do a paranormal investigation. Nah, I fucking will. I fucking will. So if anybody's up there listening, from my mouth to God's ears, I sure the fuck would investigate every single most haunted, scariest place. Like, I want to go to the places that people don't want to go, that people are too scared to go to. Like, seriously, I would eat it up. That is like something I want to do, and that is my passion. I love doing things that other people would be too scared to do. And I love being able to experience it for myself. And then, after I get done with America, then I would want to go to, like, all the other, like, most haunted places in the world. Like, let's go global. Kara's gone global. I would want to go global and go to, like, like all the different countries and continents and, all this, and just eat it up. Take me to the most scariest, terrifying places in the world. But let's start with America first. Yeah. It's my jam. Completion.